Hey guys, I've been bit by the M5 CS bug yet again. Let me explain. So, about 6 months ago, I just learned about the 2022 BMW M5 CS and it seemed amazing. I really wanted to get one. I had just sold my GT3 RS and was looking for another fast car basically. So it seemed like a good fit. I've got kids, it's got the back seat, it's fast, it does a lot of things well, right? On paper. So I wanted to get one. I started making some phone calls to some dealerships in the area and dealerships on Auto Trader. I saw that said they had cars for sale, and I realized this is not going to be a simple purchase. Everyone's asking big money over sticker, so I decided to make a spreadsheet, which is a thing I like to do. So here's my spreadsheet I had from 6 months ago. I stopped updating it 6 months ago, and I was just documenting which dealership says they have what and if it's available and who to talk to and how much over sticker they're asking, blah, 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 right? So that was my spreadsheet, and I kind of got to a place where there wasn't anything that seemed great. There was a guy I found at one point on eBay who's asking $5K over sticker, and I agreed to his price, and we seemed like we were good to go. And then I called him a couple weeks later to see if he'd heard anything from the dealer, and then he got weird on me, and I said, if I give you 10, would that be okay? He said, yeah. And then a couple weeks go by and I check in with him again, and he stops answering his phone, and a month goes by and he's not answering his phone. And then finally he gets back to me. He says he wants like 50K over sticker and changes mine. Total terrible guy. He was such a piece of, that type of stuff. I try not to cuss in my videos because my kids might watch them. I like to cuss a lot in real life though, so sometimes I have to hold back. Anyway, that wasn't a great experience with him. I talked to a guy named Day Laborer on the forums. He's a really nice guy. He's a broker. He's really in touch with dealerships. He finds a lot of the cars that are available out there that are limited edition, like this M5 CS. And he found me one at one point, I think for 22K over sticker. And I waffled back and forth about doing it, but ultimately I didn't want to. There was some real estate stuff I wanted to invest in for my business. And ultimately I just felt like it wasn't a good investment to buy an M5 CS for 20K over sticker, because M5s have a very clear history of devaluing excessively. Let me explain that a little bit more. This is my car right here. This is my car right here that I owned, that I sold. I bought it in 2020 and I sold it in 2021 on Cars and Bids. This is literally my car and my listing. My listing on Cars and Bids that I sold. So this is a 2016 M5 Pure Metal limited edition 50 made. This had special wheels, special brakes, special power increase, special color, all sorts of special things that made it a pure metal 1 of 50. The M5 CS is not 1 of 50. I don't remember how many they're making. Someone can correct me. It's probably 500. You know what? Let's Google it real quick. M5 CS, how many built? Let's see if it says. Around 1,000 units. 1,000 versus 50 is a huge difference, guys. So this thing devalued from an MSRP of about 133,000 to 40 something thousand, low 40s in the period of 4 years. And that's not unusual for M5s in general. When I bought this M5, I could have got a non-pure metal, like a regular M5 for $20,000 with a lot of miles on it. So M5s devalue, it's a thing. There isn't an example of an M5 outside of like a classic first generation one that has low miles that was like, it's 30 or 40 years old or whatever that is, and it's like a perfect maintained car. Okay, maybe that's a different example, but an actual driven car, M5s don't hold their value. It's simple. That's it. So there's no reason to think that just because the M5 has special paint jobs, cool power, cool weight savings, amazing seats, that all of a sudden magically it's going to hold its value, right? There's no reason someone should think that's going to happen. And that's why I didn't want to pay 20K over sticker at that point, because I'm like, okay, it's going to be 170 and then I'm going to be paying tax and it's going to be almost like 200. And then in 2 years, it might be worth 100, right? And that's just not a great, not how I wanted to use my money. I don't mind losing money on cars. I just didn't want to lose that much, if that makes sense. So I kind of just gave up on the idea of it and moved on. 6 months later, now to today. Just a couple days ago, I went over to a dealership and I saw they had one in stock, a used one with about 1,000 miles on it. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go check it out. So that's this car right here. And I just snapped a couple pictures that I took while I was there, but I just walked right in. And the first thing I did was I sat down in the driver's seat because there were a couple things I was concerned about that might make this not a car I would like. Just like, you know, the R6 Avant was a car I purchased last year that I was super excited about. Looks amazing. Everything on paper seems great. Hated it. Absolutely hated it. So the first thing was these seats. I was able to fit pretty well in the GT3 RS carbon buckets, but every seat is different. So I figured I better sit in these. And what if my 200 plus pound, 6 foot frame, my fat butt doesn't fit well in these, right? So I was able to fit in it. That's fine. Check. Car felt great. In fact, great. Next thing, sales guy comes over. Can I help you? I say, I'd love to be able to drive this car. I see it's, if you go back to the picture I just had a minute ago, it's in the showroom. It's all blocked in by a bunch of cars. You know, I get it. You guys are busy probably. I'm 10 minutes away. Just call me whenever you want to test drive me on it. Whenever you can make room. And then he gets the sales manager. They're like, we're going to test drive you right now. We're going to move all the cars. Test drove the car. So the next thing I'm worried about was the transmission. So my understanding is it has the same 8-speed ZF transmission as what's in the R6 Avant. And I did not like the transmission in the R6 Avant. It pulled really hard. It fought when you're at a stop sign or a stoplight, it was like fighting your foot trying to pull forward, if that makes sense. Like when you take your foot off the brake, it was like trying to accelerate. It was a very strange feeling, and I didn't like it. And pretty much everything about that car just fell off to me. And so I was worried that this car might feel similar. It did not feel similar at all. It felt amazing. It was great. So that was the next thing. Check. Now I know I feel good in the car. The car drives great. How does it sound? It sounds really good. Startup on it almost sounded like my GT500 inside this. And when I start my GT500 in my garage, it's so loud. I love that. And when they started up inside the dealership, it sounded amazing. Is it as good as a GT500? No, but it's, you know, it's turboed, so it's muffled, but it's still really good. And I'm sure that could exhaust intake, blah, blah, blah. You can probably make it louder if you needed to, but it sounded good. It really did. So that's all good. Drove the car. I told them I'd pay them. It's a used car, and if they could do MSRP, I'd take it right now. They said no. They said they paid $5K over sticker, and they want $5K on top of that. And I said, okay, bye. So that was that. And that leads us to today, which I'm now, you know, hunting for one. I found one on the internet for about $5K over MSRP. I'm pretty sure if I, you know, go crazy on spreadsheets again, I could probably get one for MSRP or lower. And it's just kind of the idea of the whole thing. It's a lot of money. It's probably, I still am thinking it's going to depreciate. And also I'd have to make some changes probably if I'm going to buy one. So let's jump into my garage real quick. There we go. You guys can hear me. I basically have to yell. The motor will it'll get quieter here as it evens out, but this is my 2021 Shelby GT500, Ford GT500, whatever you want to call it. And I'm gonna turn off the motor so I can talk. And it's freaking awesome. I really love this car. I've had it for a year. I don't know why I haven't made a video about it. Actually, I do. I thought about this, I think just a couple weeks ago, and I was like, man, I really like making car videos. I barely ever make them anymore, and I haven't even made a video about my GT500. And I don't think I ever made a video about selling my GT3 RS. I can't remember if I ever did that. I know I've talked about it in videos, but the honest truth, I feel like I wouldn't do a good enough job for what it deserves. How about that? It's a really great car. I thrash it. it's a daily drive. It's my daily driver basically, which I know doesn't make sense. 760 horsepower car. It's always dirty because it's parked outside a lot. I know that's probably not what you want to hear, but you know, it's got back seats. The kids are in there, and you know, I guess in some aspects it gets more love in some ways than even, you know, a garage queen car. I don't track it and beat it up, but I drive it a lot and run it through its paces, and it just sounds so good. It's the best. It's probably the best sounding car I've ever heard. And I don't know. My GT3RS was up there as well. I've never heard a Lamborghini Aventador SVJ in person. I've heard those sound pretty amazing, and I've heard them on videos, but you always know it's not going to sound the same in person as on a video. But this thing is just consistently good, and the big difference in sound with this and say a GT3RS is that it sounds good like all the time, if that makes sense. No matter which type of driving you're doing, and the exhaust, the stock exhaust that comes with it, has so many different options between quiet and normal, sport and track, to be insanely loud like you have an aftermarket exhaust, or to be really quiet when you're going through a neighborhood and you don't want to wake up everyone. So it's great. It's a really good daily driver in my opinion for someone that wants a fast car. Although my kids have recently, they're getting bigger now, and they have complained a little bit about the back seat not being big enough for them. But anyway, so if I buy an M5 CS, I'll probably need to sell this, and then also that what comes up next is what's over here. I haven't made a video about this yet either. Actually, I made videos about this, and then I just didn't publish them because I didn't think they were good enough. And this is my 2011 BMW e90 M3. Yeah, stick shift. It's Interlagos blue, I think is how I said that right. Awesome color. It's almost like purpley blue. Really love everything about this car. And I picked it up recently for what I think is a really good price. It's got a lot of miles on it, but I split up the driving between that car and the Mustang, and I guess my truck as well. So anyway, I guess I would probably, if I bought an M5 CS, would I really drive this E90 M3 anymore? Well, the only reason to really drive it at that point would be because I want to drive stick shift. And I have a 911 Targa 4S that is stick. That's a project car. It's being worked on right now, and that can kind of solve my I want to drive stick problem, I guess you could say. And it also is a better car than the M3. The M3 over here. It's a great car, don't get me wrong, but a 911 Targa 4S, especially if it has aftermarket turbos in its stick shift, it's a better car. Let's just put it that way. It's also a lot more expensive, but let's go back to my desk. All right, so now you kind of see my conundrum. If I buy the M5 CS, it doesn't really make sense to keep my GT500 or my M3 sedan, my E90 M3. And if I sell those two cars, I will lose significantly more money than what I would lose if I kept those two cars instead. My Mustang is over a year later, still worth more money than I paid for it. My M5, sorry, I keep getting M3 and M5 mixed up. My E90 M3 is definitely worth more money than I paid for it, and I just bought it recently. But it's not all about maintaining value. A lot of it has to do with just enjoying life and having fun. And I think that the M5 CS is a great fit for my lifestyle. Kids, easy to get in the back seats. It's super fast. It's super fun. It gets a lot, this isn't a big deal, but it gets a lot better fuel economy than my GT500. Oh my gosh, dude. I think it's like 9 miles per gallon, literally. So there's a lot of pros to it. The cons, I lose more money and I lose the sound. The GT500 is one of the best sounding cars I've ever heard. And so I wouldn't, the M5 CS doesn't sound terrible, but it's nowhere close to a GT500, right? So I am leaning towards, though, making that move, selling those two cars, going after an M5 CS, and I'll probably buy an M5 CS first and have all three of the cars at once. And after I buy the M5 CS, then I'll probably put the two other cars up for sale. that's usually what I'll do because I might be impatient about it. The smart thing to do would be to start selling the GT500 first, since it's the most expensive, and then once that's sold, then move on. So I don't know what we'll do with that, but I really want an M5 CS now. Like I said, I got bit by the bug. I really want one, and there's that car that's 10 minutes away, and I can just go buy it right now for 10K over sticker. It only has 1,000 miles on it. It's amazing looking. It's that frozen hatch gray, which originally I wasn't a big fan of, but you know, when I saw it in person, sorry, I'm doing this. When I saw this in person, this color, it doesn't come across on the camera quite as well as it does in person. I really wanted the frozen green because I like green. It's like my favorite color. And I think after seeing the frozen gray in person, it's just, I think it's a better buy for resale value when I want to sell it. I think the green is a little bit more off the wall, harder to sell probably. I think this would be an easier resale. Everyone likes this color type of thing. That's just what I think. I don't like the red calipers. I think the whoever did this should have got the gold calipers. It was free, but whatever. But yeah, you know, I guess I'm waffling back and forth again. What would you guys do? You know, it makes it simpler to have just one car. Right now I have to have one car parked outside, which is fine. E90 M3 can be parked outside, no problem, right? But yeah, just not, you know, less maintenance, only having to maintain one car, and, you know, all of the stuff, all the car washes, the oil changes, all that kind of stuff. It's so much simpler to have one car. So, and I have more than, I'll still have more than one because I'll have the Targa 4S that will be done eventually too. But anyway, I just want to know what you guys would do. I feel like a lot of people would be like, don't get rid of the GT500. It's a sick car, but it does, you know, kids are getting older, the back seat's getting cramped. This would be convenient. It's new, it's shiny. Anyway, I'm gonna cut the video. Be interested to see what you guys have to say. Talk to you later. Bye.